Through faith I found love. With love I found hope. The polished woman.
Our special guest is Shari. I'm joined today by poised woman Shari Karney, author of the memoir The Girl Behind the Curtain, Finding My Voice, Breaking Silence, and the founder of nonprofit Roar as One, which works for survivors of sexual assault.
Yes.
Okay, Shari. For those who may not be familiar with your story, can you give us a little background?
Sure, and thank you for having me.
Yeah,
And
I'm
looking
so
at a
flattered.
beautiful Polish woman. Oh my God.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I want to know about this.
I mean, one of the things I think that's important for women to know and all survivors to know is that people don't want to say they're Me Too. People don't want to say they're a survivor because it tarnishes us.
Yeah.
It makes us feel less than. It makes us feel like people don't want to say they're a victim.
But is it because you think that they will be judged? By
It's because there's shame with it. It's a feeling of not only self-blame, but society blames victims.
Okay.
There's victim blaming.
Okay.
We blame ourselves. We feel ashamed inside of ourselves because we somehow feel that had we been smarter, quicker, prettier, faster, that it wouldn't have happened to us, that somehow we have control over it.
Okay.
And we don't.
We don't.
No, victims are victims because they don't have control over it. It's like the gun shootings at the high schools.
Yes.
Many of the victims feel somehow to blame. They should have known someone was a bully, or they should have known someone was dangerous. And same with survivors of sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual harassment. We blame ourselves.
Okay.
We feel that somehow it's our fault. We feel responsible. One of the things that women always feel is two things. We have to be perfect,
Yeah, I know.
and we are responsible for everything.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
if anything goes wrong, we feel it's our fault.
Yeah, we feel it's our fault. But can you, because I had a very bad childhood.
Yes?
Oh, I think the reason why I believe in something, things happen in our lives, trials, tribulations, hardships, whatever, for us, to share this instead of keeping quiet, share this to other
It
people.
makes us the people we are today.
Yeah.
I always say hidden in our trauma is our greatest gift, because you wouldn't be where you are today or who you are today, and I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah.
So if women like me and women like you have trouble speaking up, have trouble getting our arms around becoming whole after this, think about everyone out there. And so I say to all survivors, you're more beautiful than before. And you can take what happened to you and you can make good of it, and you can have a reason for it. And what happened to me and what happened to you.
Yeah. Well, I actually haven't. I was just telling
I mean,
you
I'm
a
not
while
sure
ago.
what your story is, but you said you had a hard childhood.
I was gonna tell you, that's why I didn't invite anybody, because I wanted, to ask for your advice, because I went through a lot in my childhood, and it's weird that, oh my God.
It's okay.
It's
okay.
weird that I only told my dad before he died that I was molested when I was 11, and I was under his I think I was living with him that time.
Thank
So
you
it's
for sharing that, and for and
I actually just told my whole family even before my dad died.
and
because we
so
were all
here's
there.
my question to you.
You don't ask me a question.
Here's my question to you. Why did it take you so long to tell people? Why? So that our viewers can understand that they're not alone.
Yes,
And
I
if they
know.
haven't broken silence or they haven't told anyone, it's a process.
It's a process.
Why did it take you this long? What happened to you to make you feel you couldn't tell?
My mother died. She was murdered when I was 15. And
Your mother was murdered?
yeah, and I worked my ass off for when I was 15 years old, because I chose to be with my mom. In the Philippines, my dad is a rich family, and when my mom is like the poor woman, they can't be married. It's
They couldn't be married?
They couldn't be married. It's a whole socialite thing. It's it's a whole thing, so I chose to be with my mother, and my father came here, and when she died, I took care of my 4 siblings. So I worked. I didn't finish college, and I
But
worked.
so what? Like, I didn't tell people because I didn't have memory until I was 29.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I had repressed it completely. Have you always remembered?
No, I blocked it off.
Right.
I
And
blocked
no one, until how old?
Just when I actually wrote my memoir. And that's when actually I had my anxiety. I had major anxiety. I almost killed myself, and we were just talking to, and this doctor saved me. It was like a whole, ordeal, and so that's why I was excited to be.
But here's the thing, you're an example. You're a beautiful, confident, successful, famous woman, and you felt unable to break silence. You couldn't deal with it. And I'm not trying to like push you on your own story, but what went on with you? Because what goes on with you goes on with everyone.
I know.
That's why we're here where we are.
I know.
And so what made you not feel you could tell anyone or even remember it for yourself?
I just forgot.
You just repressed it, right?
Yeah, I just didn't realize until I was I was talking to my dad while he was dying.
Oh.
And all my family were there, and I was like, I have to tell you guys something.
Oh, because you didn't want. Why did you feel you needed to tell before your father died? What about that moment made this your need and to break silence? What triggered that? That's so important.
I felt like I had to voice out what happened to me, and for him to find out that, it's like saying, hey, I forgive you for not being there.
Okay, so in the middle of this story is a feeling, because I've had many years to come to terms with this, and it's still painful, and I still see the tattoo of sexual assault on me. I still see that I don't trust people sometimes, that if someone moves toward me quickly, I might move away. The sense of not deserving, the ability to not accept and receive things, to feel like you don't deserve it, to feel like you have to work harder than anyone else for anything, and to feel like somehow the polish has been taken off of us. And here's how I feel. I feel like we're sort of born with this protective bubble, the bubble of who we are, and sexual assault pierces that bubble, and we're no longer protected.
Yes.
We're no longer enveloped and safe. Yeah. Who we are and our boundaries have been broken. And so that leads you to be a person that people see doesn't have protection around you.
Yeah.
And they can move towards you. And do things towards you. That's why victims of childhood sexual abuse are sexually assaulted on campus, are date raped, are sexually harassed at work, because that victimization has already happened to us as children.
Yes.
I just learned yesterday that 1 in 7 children are sexually abused before the age of 6.
What?
I didn't know that. I read it in a study, a Connecticut study. What? And so for you, I think you might have felt like, had your father been around more, that he could have protected you.
Yes, yes.
And did you feel like I felt more angry with my mother, who I felt knew what was going on and didn't protect me or save me, than I actually felt with my perpetrators.
Yes.
I felt more betrayed by her.
Yeah,
and that's why it's hard for me sometimes to trust women and to feel that women are going to love me and take care of me.
Yes.
Because my mother never did.
Yes.
In fact, my mother said to me, "You are so unattractive and so ugly that you better get an education, because no man is ever going to marry you." And she said this to me day in and day out and day in and day out. And it was devastating. Because one of the things I understand is that when I was younger and more beautiful is when I felt the most unattractive. And now when you get older and can finally, feel like maybe you have beauty, your beauty may not be there to the same degree anymore.
Yeah.
But to feel that your own mother says
Saying
that
that,
to you.
oh,
But in a
gosh.
way, you know, why didn't you feel like you could tell your mother? Like, why was this a secret and a burden you bore as an 11-year-old little girl?
Well, my mother passed away when I was 15. I don't know.
But this
I just
happened
didn't
to you at 11, you
yeah,
said,
I know.
right?
Yeah, I was 11. I just didn't have the guts to like tell her.
And we don't have the guts because we feel something
That's-
dirty happened to us, something
Yes.
shameful.
Oh, you know what? I felt like, I think that time I thought it was not wrong. I was just the curiosity of doing it. Like,
What do you mean you didn't think it was wrong? Give me an.
because I was born very Catholic, you know, so we
Yes.
never talked about sex, never talked about anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like all we do is like pray.
So did you feel that it was un-Catholic of you to admit that some kind of sexual violation had happened?
I think it was more of like, what is this? You know, it was like, what is this? What is he doing? Like, and then it's like, I don't know. It was a long time ago that I just remember it was the whole touching thing and.
I mean, but this is what happens to us.
Yeah, and that's
This is what happens to victims.
I know.
This is it. We're
yeah,
confused.
we're
This person's
confused.
touching us. What does it
Yes,
mean?
yes.
We're shamed. Who do we tell?
Yeah.
Can we tell?
Yeah.
But
And
I have this one thing to say, and every mother out there's going to hate me.
Yeah.
But when we have animals and something's happened to them, we can tell.
Yes.
Their head is down, they move different, they eat different.
Yes, yes.
There's a sense of some trauma.
Yes.
How do mothers not see this? How did your mother miss it?
Yeah.
You were not the same girl the
Yeah.
day after that you were the day before.
Yes.
How did your mother miss it?
I know.
How did anyone in the family miss it?
I know.
Well,
I don't know.
I think I do know.
How?
Because they don't want to see it. Because they don't want to see it. And also because maybe it triggers something that happened to them.
Them as well, right?
Right.
That is, that is the reason. But I want to ask you how you became a lawyer. But this is the reason why I wanted to have you here, and I've never told anyone about this whole thing, and I was gonna put this on my book, and I found out about some little girl that was actually molested as well, and they didn't say anything. But they didn't say nothing. They didn't do nothing, and I just said to this person, I said, why not? I mean, so what's going to happen to that person that just did it to her if she's not going to speak out and say, and then I was like, how about the mother? No, the mother doesn't want to do anything. Like, why? So
Right.
where is this guy now? Oh, he's there. So he's out there doing the same thing to
But
different
it's the
women.
same story everywhere because
Yeah.
where's the guy that did it to you? Where is
Yeah.
the men that did it to me?
Yeah, I know.
They're out there doing it to someone
Yeah.
else, and we carry their secret.
Exactly.
And they count on that from
Yes.
us.
Yes.
And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Oh, I love this.
That is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because we need to have a constitutional human right to body safety. No one should be able to touch you
Yeah, I know.
without your permission or wanting of it.
Yes.
Whether you're a child, a college student, elderly woman, a disabled person, a male, straight, gay, LBGTQ, we should have the right,
Yes.
constitutional right in America and worldwide
Yes,
to have the right to safety to our own body.
of course.
And without that, we protect predators, pedophiles, and perpetrators. That's
Yeah.
it, because the person who did it to you,
Yes.
you were not his only victim.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
And because you were silent, because you're in a Catholic country, because those things aren't talked about, because it's shameful, because the family doesn't even discuss sex, and because your father wasn't around to protect you, and you were silenced, now there's a slew of women behind you
Yeah.
that may be victims of this same person. So every woman that breaks silence breaks it. Every man, woman, and child that breaks silence breaks it not only for themselves, but to prevent future children from being violated. If you feel that you can't break silence or can't tell, think about the victims that are lined up behind you
Yeah.
that you could stop
Yeah.
and prevent. It's for the next generation.
Yeah.
It's for our children and
for
our
our
grandchildren,
children,
our
yeah.
children's children.
Is this the reason why you chose to become a lawyer? Like after what happened to you?
You know,
just-
no, I didn't know what had happened to me when I became a lawyer. I learned, my memory came back
Yeah.
during my first child sexual abuse case. And look around you. We have adult women, Gwyneth Paltrow,
Yeah.
you know, all of these celebrities.
Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon.
Yes, they all
And
came
still
out.
Harvey Weinstein,
Yes.
alleged Harvey Weinstein sexual assaulter and abuser.
That is
still no criminal
crazy
charge.
when
And
that
Bill
came out. And
Cosby
Bill
just
Cosby.
got a conviction
Yeah.
after 35
35
years.
I know. Oh my gosh. This
And
is like
so,
heart wrenching. I mean, but how? I want to tell everyone that you have this organization called
Roar as One.
Yeah, Roar as One. How can you tell everyone? What
Okay, Roar is One. What we need for Roar as One is we want you to join us. We want you to use your voice. We need you to help us get laws drafted to change the Constitution so that all of us have the constitutional right to body safety. We need volunteers. We need donations. Right now, I'm funding it myself.
Okay.
And we really need donors.
Okay.
Because there's wonderful work we're going to do. We have wonderful plans for what we're going to do to end child sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual harassment. And the quickest way to end it is to give victims rights and to give victims the opportunity to go against perpetrators, pedophiles, and predators. You know, time's up and it's time for a reckoning. And so Roar as One is our hope.
Yeah.
It's our battle cry. It's our coming together and supporting each other.
Yeah.
And Maya Angelou said it best. She said, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. You come as one, but you stand as 10,000.
Wow.
And really thank you for sharing your story. I know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For my advice for today, we have to do better for survivors of sexual assault. And while there's no one right thing that we can do since everyone is different, the first step is the right direction is to be willing to listen without judgment and offer what support we can, whether it's being a shoulder to cry on, helping to direct them to resources, or in some cases finding a way to speak about our own trauma. And I think that's what happened to me. I felt like I was going to be judged and, as a
And I
as
don't
a
judge you
child.
at all.
Yeah, and so the tip for today, remember that in everyone's life there are things that happen that we did not expect, didn't plan, and in the case of sexual assault, talking about this can be difficult. It may even feel impossible. But I encourage you to do it. If you're a survivor, don't be embarrassed or feel like you owe anyone your silence. You don't. Your voice and your story are important, and sharing it can be the key in stopping future assaults from occurring, getting your attacker and put him to jail, or being the encouragement that someone else needs to come forward with their own story. Most importantly, know that you are not alone.
Know that
you are not alone. So come to Roar.
Yes, come
Yeah,
to
come to
Roar as One.
As one, and we can help you. And since
Thank
I'm going to be
you.
a part of it, we can both help. Shari and I will help.
Love.